Good morning. I am reading today in Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 2. And what's happening is the walls of Jerusalem are being rebuilt. And in verse Sanballat, he hears that the wall's being rebuilt and he begins to mock the Jews. And here's what he says in verse 2. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria. And what do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? First off, the fact that he even asked, will they sacrifice? Are they where they should be? And the walls are being rebuilt. And I'm working on a very in-depth sermon right now about the walls and the gates, and I'm just finding it really interesting. But my question for you today, I'm looking at these things, and are you feeble before God? Is your lifestyle not strengthening you spiritually? Where are you at with God? What of these feeble Christians? What of those that are struggling to build boundaries and walls and understand what should and shouldn't come in through the gates? What of those? Will you fortify yourself? Will you protect yourself? When I'm working with primarily the youth that have calls to ministry, but even the adults, the common question is, or a common statement that I make is, protect your ministry. No one else will protect your ministry, so you need to protect your ministry. Never put yourself in a situation where someone could question the intentions. So I'm never alone with any of my youth team, the Buttons team. If I've had events that we were invited to, and I've reached out to my daughters and said, I need one of the kids to go with me because I can't be alone with this young man or with even this young lady. I protect my ministry. I have boundaries. I have gates. Those gates to be alone with one of the Buttons team is when they become an adult. I'm not with them alone until then. And then even the young men, I'm careful about that. I'm in my 60s. Who's going to question if I'm with a 19-year-old young man? But I don't make room for the enemy. So I'm going to build some walls and I'm going to have some gates. And so will they fortify themselves? Let me ask you, do you have walls? Do you have gates? Will you fortify yourself? Will you strengthen yourself? Will you build the walls up? Will they sacrifice? This blows my mind, because if he's making fun of them and saying, will they sacrifice? Is he saying that they haven't been sacrificing? Is there not something that you do right now, the beginning of the year, and there's a lot of us that are fasting in one way or another, and honestly, I think the true fast should be water. Everything else is given up. Now, you can't go very long with that. And in this day and age, it's not like you have a lot of days that you can just lay around the house. So I get the necessity of fasting in other ways. I get the necessity of the diabetic and the elderly and those that work hard on their jobs and are there's a lot of energy given out. So I get all that. But fasting, are you sacrificing somehow? Maybe it's that that offering that you put in that beginning of the year, or maybe it was the end of last year, where you support our churches that are young, our North American missions, as we call it. Maybe it's that you give a big offering at the end of the year to missionaries, but maybe you do that at the beginning of the year. Are you sacrificing? Are you taking something from yourself that you desire and giving it to God? Are you sacrificing? Will they make an end in a day? Are they going to finish this in one day? Well, you know what? No, they can't finish that in one day. But I think what he's saying here is, did they think they're going to go in there and build on this from one day and then they're done? Because they don't have any stability. They're not going to stand and continue. And so I know that if you're watching, you're probably one of those that is going to church consistently. So I don't think that, let's just say, are you stable? Are you making it to church every week? Are you reading your Bible every day? Are you praying? Are you fasting? It's not a one-day thing. It's a lifetime. It is a lifetime. Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? So after they get rid of the trash, after they burn down the dung and the waste, what is left is stones. Are they really going to take those stones and reuse them? There are those that have got mixed in. They've been broken and they've been mixed in with things that are trash, things that don't belong in our lives, things that the prodigal was in the pig pen. He was a stone in the trash. So I ask you, will you reach out and will you gather those stones that are ready to come home? Will you reach the lost? Let the mockers mock, as long as you're doing what you should be doing. They're just noise. Let the mockers mock, but do what you should for God. I love y'all.